Coming up on Sportsource, Georgia softball is looking to go far in the postseason this year. Who's leading the way? And a sophomore sensation has taken his team to 2 state championships. What's next for him? Plus, do UGA students prefer to watch college or pro sports? We'll find out. Sportsource starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Sportsource. I'm your host, Ansley Gavlak. We start our show today right here in Athens. Georgia softball has had quite the start to their 2025 season. With SEC play in full swing, Sportsource reporter Skylar DeLuca is joining us with a story about a standout player who is fueling Georgia's success this season. Skylar?
That's right, Ansley. Georgia softball is on a mission this season. And with the SEC championship returning to Athens for the first time since 2006, the stakes have never been higher. Powered by a new state-of-the-art training facility and a roster full of talent, the Bulldogs are ready to make their mark. At the center of it all is junior standout Jaden Goodwin, known by her teammates as Shorty, whose leadership and discipline this season have been key to Georgia's success. I had the chance to talk with Shorty and softball head coach Tony Baldwin. Let's take a look at what they had to say. Jack Turner Stadium, the heart of Georgia softball, is set to host the 2025 SEC Championship, and leading the Bulldogs into this historic season is none other than Jaden Goodwin.
Going into this year, I just really wanted to focus on myself mentally, and trusting the work I put in. I think that's the big difference I've had in the batter's box this year, is just believing in myself and all the work that goes into it and giving myself grace.
Standing at just 5'4", Jaden may be one of the smallest players on the team, but she plays with a presence that towers over the competition. Known as Shorty to her teammates, she's become a force to be reckoned with this season, leading the Bulldogs in key offensive categories.
Growing up with both my sisters playing softball and in a very competitive household has had a big impact on me. Being so competitive, I think it shows in the game and how I play, and I think it's had a huge impact on my character and my character as an athlete as well and how I perform.
That competitive fire has fueled her breakout junior season. Goodwin has become a leader both on and off the field, setting the tone for a Georgia team looking to make a deep postseason run.
Since she was young, she's been a really talented player and just sort of always had that it factor, the ability to be clutch and perform in the bigger games and in the bigger moments. I think the biggest thing that's led to her success this year is her discipline in the box in terms of her pitch selection and swinging at the right pitches.
With Georgia sitting at 21-6 this season, Goodwin has been a major catalyst in their success. With the newly unveiled state-of-the-art facility at Jack Turner Stadium, the Bulldogs gain a powerful edge, featuring a full practice infield, advanced recovery areas, and cutting-edge training spaces to elevate their game.
And it's a home away for home for them. The recovery and the rehabilitation aspect of the facility is, at this time of the year, really gets put to use.
With the SEC Championship back in Athens for the first time since 2006, the Bulldogs aim to make history. Led by Jaden Goodwin and backed by a world-class facility, Georgia softball is ready for the spotlight. Reporting for the Carmichael Sports Media Institute, I'm Skylar DeLuca. With the SEC Championship set to take place at Jack Turner Stadium, Georgia softball has an opportunity to compete for a title on its home turf. Backed by top-tier facilities, a dedicated coaching staff, and players like Jaden Goodwin leading the way, the Bulldogs are locked in for the postseason. Back to you, Ansley.
Winning an SEC title on Georgia's home turf, now that's something that Dog fans can only dream of. Thanks, Skylar. Lacrosse is one of the fastest growing sports in the country right now. On the women's side, many Division I schools in the South, like Clemson and Florida State, have recently added programs to their portfolio of sports, while other schools have put together dominant club teams. Sportsource reporter Kylie Sharp spoke with a member of the women's UGA lacrosse team to get her opinion on the rise of the sport in the South. Kylie?
That's right, Ansley. The number 2 UGA women's lacrosse team has dominated the SWLL, winning the conference 12 times since the team's founding in 1994. I caught up with the team's Vice President of Fundraising and Philanthropy, Kay Page, to get her thoughts on the importance of the spread of lacrosse to the South. the only Maryland native and reigning National Attacker of the Year, shared just how much the sport has meant to her.
Lacrosse is expanding quickly in the South. What do you think has fueled that momentum?
I definitely think growing the game in the South has happened because of college. I think a lot of colleges have started adding it, so now it's like little girls are obviously getting inspired by college athletes, and it's kind of growing the game down here.
And then what has the UGA program done to continue to evolve?
Definitely, I think we evolve because it's just like such a fun atmosphere, and I think our travel definitely helps that. I mean, we travel to a lot of places each season, like the West Coast in particular, and then we also do a little bit Midwest, stuff like that, like Kansas. So I think the travel is really fun for people. It gets them involved, and it's also just like, it's a tight little family, you know, that gets people involved in something at school.
And then UGA has dominated the SWLL for years. What makes this group so special?
Like SWIL or?
Yeah.
Okay. I think SWIL is honestly a great program because it's a lot of SEC schools, and, you know, people come here for football and a lot of big sports and stuff that people really enjoy to watch. And I think a lot of people who could have played in college and wanted to play in college but wanted a bigger school over that come and play club lacrosse instead. So it gets like a lot of good players in the organizations, and then it's competitive, fun conference.
And then going off of that, what do you think a D1 program could add to UGA?
I think definitely facilities would be the biggest thing. I'm sure with D1 program would come more funding, so turf fields, like locker rooms even, maybe, things that like a club team might be able to utilize in those times when the D1 team isn't.
And then what has lacrosse added to your college experience?
My best friends, honestly. I think that's the biggest thing. I've gotten to travel new places I haven't gone before, and yeah, I've just met my best friends playing on the team, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And then going off of that, what has lacrosse added to your life?
Relationships, like going with that too. Like I said, I met some of my best friends, like girls I could see being my bridesmaids and stuff in the future. So like, I'm just so thankful for all the relationships it's provided me with.
And then if UGA were to add that D1 program, how do you think that would impact the growth of the sport in the South?
Like I said, I definitely think college athletics has a huge thing to do with the growth of the sport. So I think if a school like UGA, which is already an awesome school and people love going here, were to add it, I think it would definitely spike a growth in this southeastern region.
Perfect.
Thanks again, Kay, for taking the time to speak with us. As the Bulldogs wrap up the regular season within the next 2 weeks, her impact on the offensive end will be one to watch. The Bulldogs have been invited to the WCLA National Championship every year since 2007 and have their sights on bringing the title back for the first time since 2016. Back to you, Ansley.
Thanks, Kylie. It sounds like Georgia's on a mission in these final weeks of the season. We'll have to keep an eye on Kay and the Bulldogs and see if they can bring that trophy back here to Athens. Coming up on Sportsource, there's one high school soccer team who has been dominating the field year after year. What's their secret to success? Joining me now are Sportsource analysts Wesley Branch and Frankie Hennessy. Guys?
Cody County women's soccer team has won the last 2 GHSA 3A state championships. Can they keep the streak going and make it 3 this year?
We sat down with their coach to see how they're planning on keeping that trend alive. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Sportsource. Oconee County women's soccer is filled with talent, and it feels like the team just keeps getting better. Sportsource analysts Wesley Branch and Frankie Hennessy are here with more about the rise of Oconee County and what it will take to continue that trend.
That's right, Ansley. The Oconee County Lady Warriors have been on an upward trend since 2023 when they took home their first state championship. Last year, the team went back-to-back, and this year they're hoping to do it all again.
The girls are currently 2-0 in the region, but 7-4 overall. A few of their notable losses include cross-county rival North Oconee, who they held at 0-0 until the very end before ultimately falling in penalty kicks.
That's not the only time this season the Lady Warriors have had a game come down to penalty kicks. Wes, isn't that an area where the team has struggled?
They have. In both games that have ended in a draw, the Lady Warriors have lost in PKs, with 2 of their losses for the season coming this way.
That's definitely an area they'll need to improve in. But despite those struggles, this team has had a lot of strengths. Frankie, what would you say they do best?
That would be their aggressiveness. Oconee has won its 2 region matches so far, one by 9 goals and the other by 10. When they show up on the field, they show no mercy until the very end.
This is true. In fact, every single one of their wins this season has been by 2 goals or more. So it's pretty apparent that they aren't letting anyone cut it too close.
And while PKs may be a bit of a struggle right now, it's obvious that goalkeeping is not. The Lady Warriors have only conceded 8 goals so far this season, with 3 of them being in their opening match against Greater Atlanta Christian.
And they've had 5 shutouts this year so far, despite only having played 11 games.
5 shutouts is definitely something to note on their resume. But if they want to make a state championship run for the 3rd year in a row, what will it take?
Consistency is going to be the main thing going forward for the Lady Warriors. The region record is solid, but the back and forth of the regular season could spout turmoil once the playoffs start.
I have to agree. A few more wins against tough opponents would also help to solidify their spot in the playoffs and maybe earn them a higher seed. I spoke with their head coach, Judson Hamby, to get his opinion, and he told me they like to take it just one game at a time.
As we look ahead, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty with the new rankings and how the playoffs are going to sort out. But I think as far as challenges, I think that this is a driven group, and the seniors and the juniors have done a good job of modeling, excellence as far as the group goes.
Will the Lady Warriors make history? Right now, it's all up to them. Back to you, Ansley.
Coming up on Sportsource, there's a new face on the tennis court, but the team's success hasn't changed. And another underclassman is turning heads, but this time in high school basketball. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sportsource. With spring sports heating up, the competition is only getting tougher. But for Georgia women's tennis, that doesn't seem to be an issue. The Bulldogs have held the top spot in the nation for nearly the entire season. Sportsource reporter Kaylin Vidal is joining us now to dive deeper into the story of a new face on the court this season. Kaylin?
That's right, Ansley. Hayden Mulberry out of Marietta, Georgia took advantage of her opportunity to stay in the Peach State for college less than a year ago. Before she became a Bulldog, Hayden was a 5-star high school recruit and 3-time consecutive state champion. Have a look at a little more about Hayden Mulberry.
The Georgia women's tennis season is underway. The team is currently number 1 in the nation and 14-1 on the season and 7-0 in the SEC. The team highlights great talent in singles and doubles, but one Bulldog in particular is serving up some serious heat on the court.
Hi, I'm Hayden Mulberry. I'm a freshman here at UGA on the women's tennis team. I went to high school at Walton in Marietta, Georgia.
While at Walton, Hayden was a 5-star recruit and won 3 consecutive state championships.
Hayden's, in the tennis world we get backgrounds where a lot of times it's really tennis intensive in their childhood, their high school years, they may be at an academy. Hayden had more of a normal high school experience where she was in a traditional high school, and it's also terrific having somebody with that high school team spirit, school camaraderie type personality coming in here. So I think that she's got a unique perspective, especially when it comes from the junior tennis world.
Hayden's hometown of Marietta, Georgia is only about an hour and a half away from Athens, so she is very familiar with the culture of the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I grew up being a huge Georgia fan. The tennis program here is amazing. I love the coaches so much, and the atmosphere and the environment is insane. And just being able to represent Georgia and play for a team that I've cheered for my entire life, I thought would be incredible.
Now, Hayden competes in singles and is 6-3 and doubles alongside her teammate, sophomore Isagale Mayert. The pair are undefeated this season with 9 wins. Hayden isn't just beginning her journey in Georgia, but she's starting her legacy as a Bulldog.
Overall, I love Georgia. I love being able to represent where I'm from. And every day I wake up
So excited to practice, play matches, be with my teammates.
For the Carmichael Sports Media Institute, I'm Kaylin Vidal.
Even though Georgia fans should have Hayden Mulberry for at least another couple of years, your next chance to see her and the rest of Georgia women's tennis is today at 4 o'clock in Dan Magill Tennis Complex versus Arkansas. Head there now.
Seems like the talent on the Georgia women's tennis team just keeps coming. This should be an exciting next couple of years for Georgia fans. Thanks, Kaylin. Losing is one thing that North Oconee basketball doesn't know much about. The team just notched the 4A GHSA state title for the second year in a row, and the most dominant player on the court is only a sophomore. Sportsource reporter Jet Rawls had the opportunity to speak with Justin Wise about his consistent dominance. Jet?
Thanks, Ansley. Sophomore Justin Wise had a fire lit under him in the Class 4A state championship game, scoring 27 points and leading his team to their second straight title. I had the opportunity to speak with him about what the win meant to him, his plans for the future, and a little bit about the upcoming NCAA tournament. Take a look. I'm here with sophomore guard Justin Wise. Justin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So, Justin, you were MVP in the state championship. How did it feel to sort of catch fire and bring your team that win?
I mean, it felt good because just like last year, I mean, that feeling was probably one of the best feelings I had all year, and to know I led my team to another state championship feels great.
Well, who do you think is the biggest influence sort of on your game and how you play?
Probably my mom and my uncle and Coach Raz.
Well, it's funny you mentioned your uncle. I know you spent some time with him in California, and he played college ball at Miami. How do you think he has helped you step up your game and become a better player?
I mean, he knows ball really well, and he knows a lot of like what it takes to get to the next level because he already did it. So he kind of guides me on the right path and just lets me do what I need to do to get there.
All right. And I know you obviously were a part of the team last year that won state. How have you seen that team continue to improve and bring yourself a second state championship this year?
I mean, we got a lot of new guys this year. We only had like 3 returners, so a lot of it was just chemistry we had to improve on since we were new. And starting the year off, we started a little rough with 2-2, and then we didn't lose again after that.
And what sort of game by game did you see individually in your players and yourself to improve and become state champions?
Like I said, chemistry is a big one, and just having self-confidence and knowing what you can do and what to do in certain situations.
And you averaged over 20 points a game this season. How do you and Coach Raz expect to work this offseason to better improve yourself your junior year?
Probably work on a lot more defensive stuff because now we won't have Kamari like we did at the beginning of the year when we struggled on defense and allowing a lot of teams to score a lot of points. So I think our defense will be a main focus this year.
A couple fun questions for you here, Justin. Who's your favorite player growing up?
Probably LeBron James right now.
And have you tried to like practice his like step back, anything that he does?
No, I just really like watching him, and he's my goat.
Yeah. Well, my goat's Jordan, so I'm going to disagree with you there. Another one. Who do you have going to the Final Four this year?
Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Tennessee.
Who you got taking it all?
Duke.
All right, there you have it.
As you can see, Wise is excited about what the future holds for him and the Titans. Heading into his junior year, Wise already has a couple of Division I offers, and with 2 years left to play, I'm sure many more will come down the pipeline. Be sure to pay close attention to him when basketball season comes back around. Back to you, Ansley.
2 years of high school basketball, 2 state championship titles, and 2 MVP awards, that's something kids dream of. We'll have to keep our eyes on Justin, that's for sure. Thanks, Jet. Coming up on Sportsource, between all the rivalries and chaos, do students find college or pro sports to be more thrilling? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back to Sportsource. When it comes to watching sports, everyone has their own opinions. Today, we're joined by Sportsource reporter Aiden Daly, who asked students a question that we all have our own answers to. Aiden?
Thanks, Ansley. Every fan in the sports world has their teams they root for the most, whether it's a high-flying club in the Premier League or their local high school football team. Everyone's got a favorite. But when it comes to what level of competition they enjoy most, opinions can be all over the place. I went around asking people which they prefer, college or professional sports. Here's what they had to say.
So today we're asking a question as old as time. College sports or professional sports?
I am a college sports fan over professional.
Why's that?
I just think players play with more passion. It's fun, especially since we are in college, that those are kind of just other students with us, but they're also on their way to be professional athletes, and I think the school spirit behind it is just what makes it amazing.
As someone who's not really into sports, I'd say college sports. I think coming to UGA, I think I've really enjoyed going to like college football games. I think the energy is very interesting to be around. It's very lively and fun. Yeah, I think there's also a really good community that exists within UGA and college sports in general. There's like a good community.
I'm gonna go with college sports. I love both, but I think college sports is the chaos of it and all. Like, you see some crazy plays in college football that you never see in like the NFL. So I think for me, that's why I like college sports more.
Me, I'm going to have to go professional. I love MLB. I love just the idea of all these kids made it to the bigs. I love them at the highest level that they could possibly be at.
Definitely college sports.
Why is that?
I think like the fan base is definitely more into it. Like people go like to UGA, they have like a passion to UGA, they go to college here, they have family that go here. Like you can't really say the same, like you grow up maybe like a Patriots fan or a Falcons fan, but like you have family that go here or like go to some other college and it feels like more intimate.
As you can see, even though there are only two possible answers, everyone's reasoning for what they chose is unique. As for me, I think it depends on the sport. March Madness in college basketball is a spectacle of a tournament, but how can you not be romantic about professional baseball in October? Either way, as long as you're sitting down watching the game you love, you're doing it the right way. Back to you, Ansley.
No matter what people prefer, I think we can all agree that we'll be college basketball fans for these next couple of weeks of March Madness. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Sports Source. I'm Ansley Gavlak, and we'll see you back here next week. Have a great weekend.